more fun in the Philippines. Bakit malalayo? Sobrang swerte kaya ng tsinelas mo. Nakataba ka sa paraiso. It's more fun in the Philippines. It's more fun in the Philippines. Bakit malalayo? Mula Batanes hanggang Hulo, iba ang saya ng Pilipino. It's more fun in the Philippines.
RPN, Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXKO. 13 sa bayan sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang radyo randa dili sa latayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sidlahan na may galaon sa katawan, andam na serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPN DXKO radyo randa sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Lord, look upon me with eyes of mercy. May your healing hand rest upon me. May your life-giving powers flow into every cell of my body and into the depths of my soul, cleansing, purifying, restoring me to wholeness and strength for service in your kingdom. Amen.
Are you a Filipino living in Middle East, Europe, Asia and the Pacific, USA or Canada? You are our story. You are our Filipinos World. The Filipinos World Saturday every 4 to 5 p.m. only here on RPN DXKO 1368 Teleradio. Hosted.
Paraiso. It's more fun in the Philippines. Bakit malalayo? Mula Batanes hanggang Hulo.
Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and to the Filipinos across the globe. My name is KTFW Agnes, and you are watching live here in the Filipinos World. We are broadcasting live from Cagayan de Oro City, Philippines, powered by RPN DXKO Teleradio, and we are also live streaming in Facebook via facebook.com/RPN Cagayan de Oro 1368. And for those who are watching right now in their Facebook, you may like and share the page as mentioned earlier. Today's episode, we will be discussing about the OFWs and migrant workers as economic heroes and how are they helped. For the first segment, we will have Atty Fidel Macauyag together with Ms Owen Sanchez, and they will be discussing about the OFWs plights and the Philippine Overseas Labour Office responsive acts. And on the second segment, we have our guests from Kanlungan Consortium UK, represented by Ms. Andrea Martinez and Mr. Rogelio Braga, and they will discuss Kanlungan, a shelter to Filipinos and Asians in UK. And together with me this afternoon is our guest co-host, Ms. Owen Sanchez. Hello, Owen. Hello. Okay, I think the audio, John, do we have the audio for her? We can't hear you. You should have, do you have the audio? We can't hear you. It's not audible.
Hello.
Yeah, that's it.
Hi, Alice. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good afternoon, the Filipinos World. My name is Owen Sanchez, and I'm your guest co-host for today's episode, and I'm broadcasting live from United Arab Emirates, Dubai. Today is February 2021, Saturday, and it is the National Day of Solidarity with Muslim, Arab, and South Asian immigrants. It is also the World Day of Social Justice. The World Day of Social Justice is a day intended to recognize the need to promote efforts to tackle issues such as poverty, exclusion, and unemployment. In 2009, the United Nations General Assembly designated February 20th as the World Day of Social Justice. In the meantime, let us hear the Filipinos World news for today. Thanks, Alice.
From Inquirer Global, 139 Filipinos from Myanmar arrive in the Philippines. Some 139 Filipinos in Myanmar arrive in Philippines through a chartered flight of COVID-19 travel restrictions and the political situation in Southeast Asian country. And also from Inquirer Global, the UK and Germany want exemption from deployment limit of Filipino healthcare workers. The United Kingdom and Germany are seeking an exemption from the 5,000 year limit on deployment on Filipino nurses and healthcare workers, with the latter hoping to hire some 15,000 Filipino medical workers. And that's the Filipinos World News, brought to you by Love Module. We will be right back.
A highly distinctive and exclusive range of interior solutions that combines functional excellence with design appeal. Solutions with integrated, innovative, ergonomic features to well-designed workplaces. Our company is based on the inherent values that shape the core of who we are. It is through our living values that we continue to fulfill the promise of our ideal and environmental design standards. Each and every groundbreaking product we've introduced over the years has been the result of our team's hard work and dedication to provide our absolute best to who we care most about, who is our customers. Whether the job is big or small, our team is used to solving complicated tasks and makes sure to get projects to successful completion. Whether it is local or global. This is why Labmodal is known as one of Europe's leading manufacturers of innovative system solutions for devices used in laboratory facilities, hospitals, and educational facilities. Solutions that can be easily adapted to the growing needs and workflows demands of the future. Labmodal, designing safe.
Chemical storage, classroom interior design, school furniture, storage units, fume cupboards. You may please get in touch with Love Module via email at info@lovemodule.com or visit their website at www.lovemodule.com. Welcome back, and you're still watching us live here in the Filipinos World. Around 10 million Filipinos are believed to be working and living abroad. The cash remittances from Filipinos working overseas dropped to 0.8% to $29.9 billion last year, defying expectations of a sharper fall due to the pandemic. The personal remittances from overseas Filipinos workers reached a record high of $33.5 billion in 2019, which is 3.9% higher than the $32.2 billion recorded in 2018. But these figures doesn't represent the real situation of the overseas Filipinos, when some of them faced adversities and hardships in life while living and working abroad. When they do, they seek for rescue and support from rightful agencies. Join me in welcoming here in the Filipinos World again our guest co-host in the afternoon, who is currently the HR Managing Director of Dubai Silicon Oasis Authority, the former Vice President for HR, Admin and Operations at Link Energy and Megaworld in Dubai, one of the most 100 influential women in the world by 2018, and she's the Global Ambassador HR Expertise Professional Awardee in 2018, and one of the most talented, smart Filipina women Dubai has in the world of human resource and much sought executive in Dubai who holds various awards and citations, Ms Owen Sanchez. Ms Owen Sanchez will have a one-on-one interview with Atty Fidel Macauyag, and they will discuss on the OFWs and migrant workers and the Philippine Overseas Labour Office responsive acts. Take it away, Owen.
Thanks, Agnes, and good afternoon, the Filipinos World. I'm Owen Sanchez. I arrived in Dubai in 1994, and I myself could be considered as a foreign worker here. Our guest this afternoon is no other than Atty Fidel Macauyag, Labor Attache of Philippine Overseas Labour Office. How are you, sir? Good afternoon.
I am fine, Madam Owen. Kinabahan ako sa description sa iyo ni Madam Agnes. And I am honored to be with you in your very prestigious program. Good afternoon to both of you and to all your televiewers.
Thank you, Attorney. Prior to your stint as a labor attaché in Taichung, Taiwan, you were city prosecutor for 9 years in Cagayan de Oro City and had your humble beginnings as clerical admin in postal office for 8 years. And this must have given you the understanding of the sensitivities of and sentiments of the overseas Filipino workers in Taiwan. Can you tell us how POLO assists the overseas Filipinos worker with regards to issues they face while working abroad?
Well, okay, let me define first or tell you first what is POLO. Ang POLO is the operating arm of the DOLE, the Department of Labor and Employment, in the implementation of the government's overseas employment programs for our OFWs. All right, POLO has no mission other than the protection of the rights and the promotion of the welfare of our OFWs. Now, it is not, the function of POLO is not only to provide basic training skills, cancellation between the workers and the employers and the brokers or agencies, filing of cases in favor of our OFWs, issuance of OEC, you know OEC because you have been there in Dubai for so long, counseling even sa mga love life, we cancellate, yes. Not only to provide shelter for distressed OFWs, mayroon tayong mga shelters, di ba, sa mga POLO. That is not the only functions of POLO. Ang pinaka-importanting function of the POLO is to review the contracts of OFWs before they are deployed. Okay? Before our OFWs are deployed to their country of destination, we have to review first the contracts for that OFW if it complies with all the requirements, especially the minimum basic wage, in that particular country. We need to, inspect, visit the work site and the dormitory as a general rule. if this work site passed the health and occupational safety, yung dormitory, if it can accommodate the number of OFWs coming, and if we are satisfied that all the stipulations in the contracts are okay, and the dormitory is okay, the work site is okay, then we now bind the employer, the foreign placement agency, and the Philippine recruitment agency jointly and solidarily for whatever liability to the workers. Ano? So, pag may nangyari sa worker, all of them are held liable. So they have to settle the problem. Okay, so that is the most important. So pagkatapos nun, we now release the employment documents to the employer. Okay, employer, that is the employment documents. You may now process these documents with the POEA, and makikita ng POEA yung aming verification dyan. If we verified all these documents, it means that we have inspected the work site. It means that we have reviewed all the stipulations in the contracts, and the contracts are written in accordance with the law of the host country and the Philippine law. So, pag nakita ng POE yun, then they will process the document, and then they will issue now the OEC before the worker can fly to the country of destination. That is the most important thing. Ano? Hindi ang pinaka-importanting function, ano, ay yung mga welfare cases to attend to. Well, that is one of the most important. That is one of the important functions. Ano? But the most important is prevention of welfare cases. We exert efforts in order to prevent the happening of a welfare cases. Okay, so that is the most important function of the POLO.
Okay, thank you very much, Attorney. In what capacity and aspect, or your means and ways, does your department help and protect the rights of the Filipinos abroad?
As I have said, even before they arrive, the DOLE, our main office is the DOLE. Even before the worker arrives in the country of destination, as I have said, we have already, initiated the efforts on how to protect by, reviewing the standard contract, the standard employment contract, by ensuring that there is a real employer, by ensuring that his work is safe. Okay? So, wala pa. Hindi pa siya dumating doon. Na-ensure na namin yan. Now, if the worker happens to, become a victim of illegal termination or abuses, we are also there. That becomes a welfare case, di ba? And we usually call the attention of the foreign placement agency, why is this happening? And we tell him that you have the undertaking in our office that you will be held responsible for what is happening to the worker. You bind yourself responsible together with the employer and the PRA, or Philippine Recruitment Agency. So now you have to find a way on how to solve this problem. If this is a monetary problem, you have to work for the releasing or the payment of the unpaid salaries, or termination pay or separation pay. So those are the things that we tell the foreign placement agency. And if he does not comply, then may kalalagyan siya. Of course, we have we have the right to, suspend or to blacklist, okay? Initially, we suspend, okay? You can continue processing documents in our office or dealing with our office, transacting with our office until you have, solved this problem. Pag hindi mo pa na-solve yan, we will not deal with you. You cannot recruit Philippine worker. On top of that, kung halimbawa ay defiant pa rin, then that is the time that we help the worker, we assist the worker in filing a case before the appropriate court or a forum and the country where he is working.
Okay, attorney, actually, this is a very, very interesting topic right now, and I'm sure a lot of viewers will be very, very interested to know that POLO is there to help most of our foreign workers right now abroad. And I'm sure, specifically here in Middle East, we've got a lot of cases of, as you know, that they're all coming here like on a visa, and we've got problems on that. Do you have the same issues in Taiwan as the same as what we have here in the Middle East?
In Taiwan, in the Middle East, there are, of course, a bigger problem there because of the number of overseas Filipino workers there. So, welfare cases depends on the number of the workers. Now, in Taiwan, yeah, we also have the number, but we do not experience much welfare cases. Ganito yan. In the Middle East, you also experience, and even in Europe, some workers are experiencing problem because some of them are coming to that place as a tourist, and eventually they found a job. And eventually, they were abused. We have been telling our kababayans, never ever go abroad, seek job abroad without passing through POEA. Because if you don't process your documents to the POEA, then nobody can vouch for the existence of your employer in the host country. Nobody can tell you that your work is doable in that country. Nobody will tell you that your accommodation will be okay in that country. Only the illegal recruiter. If you encourage or entice other person to go abroad so that he can be employed there without any license from the POEA, then that is an illegal recruitment, and that's very, very dangerous. The most vulnerable worker on earth are migrant workers who were sent to the host country via illegal recruitment. So in Taiwan, mayroon kaming mga ganyan. They came there as tourists, but most of these people are teachers. Wala usually yung mga factory workers, mga teachers and professionals, even engineers. So nalalaman namin yan when they come to our office para ipa-verify nila yung kanilang kontrata. They are already employed. So nauna yung kariton kaysa yung kabayo. Now, kami naman, as I have said, since our very purpose is to protect the rights and promote the welfare of our workers, even if they did not pass through the regular process with the POEA, mga professionals naman sila, di pinaprocess namin para naman magkaroon sila ng OEC kung magbabakasyon sila. Because if you have no verified contract with the POLO or with the POEA, then you cannot go home for a vacation kasi hindi ka makakabalik, wala kang OEC. Nobody will issue OEC for you.
Okay, that's very interesting, attorney. Okay, so right now, what are the professions of our Filipino migrants in Taiwan? Because here we have several positions or professions that we almost have everything. So what's the majority of the professions that the Filipinos reasons to go in Taiwan?
Frustration. What?
Oh, okay.
Frustration.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Profession. Profession.
Profession. Owen, I'm sorry. Okay, profession. Well, most of the workers in Taiwan are, factory workers.
Right. So
Factory
that's
workers, and very few are professionals. Very few are professionals. Factory workers constitute 80%.
right.
And household workers constitute around 20%, and professional are constitute a very small percentage, around 3% maybe.
Any approximate number of Filipino workers right now in Taiwan? What's the current?
Taiwan is what we have 151,000. I think 151,000. It was decreased during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Understand. So you are also being affected of the pandemic as all over the world are.
Yeah, affected, but not so much because not so much. In fact, right now we still deploy over Filipino workers to Taiwan on a limited number.
Okay. I have some very good data here to announce that around 324,000 OFWs lost their jobs from February to May 2020. This number is just as an estimated to reach over 1 million by the end of 2021. Over 200,000 OFWs had already returned home by August 2020. 652,000 land-based repatriates and 101,048 sea-based, and this figure would have reached 400,000 by end of 2020. How did POLO extended assistance to these OFWs returning to Philippines without work? And even when they are still abroad, working without any source of income?
Yeah, everybody is affected by this pandemic. That is a very sad data, sad news. When COVID-19 broke out, the Secretary of Labor had already came up with an idea on how to help these workers. And he came up with that idea of DOLE APAP. Okay, DOLE APAP, I think we have already exhausted more than 2 billion. And there is another 2 billion, and it is still being distributed. And this DOLE APAP is intended for those who were affected by this COVID-19 pandemic. Those who were infected or those who were displaced because of course, there are certain companies that experience, business reverses, business contraction. So they lay off people, their workers. So we have this DOLE ACAP, which is being distributed to these workers who were displaced. Each is entitled to $200 US. All POLO are the ones distributing these funds to to this. But I think this is not enough. But it is only the government of the Philippines that has this kind of assistance to migrant workers. Other countries really envy the Philippines policy, and Philippines, care for their Philippine workers, for its Philippine workers. Imagine even OFWs are not even asked of paying income tax in the country. Do you know that? We exempt is no matter how big your income is. Our government is not, collecting income tax from OFWs. These OFWs who were displaced by COVID-19 or affected thereby are going home free of swab test. Okay, how much is that? In other countries, they collect, they require the migrant worker to pay. And how much does our government is spending for quarantining, our workers in Manila Hotel, Sofitel, I'm Hotel, and these hotels in Metro Manila where we cannot, check in before because they are 5-star hotel, and now they are home for our returning OFWs. And these are also the help. And I think if you are in the government service and you see with your two eyes what the government is doing, you will really, think that, our workers are really, really lucky for having a care of government like this.
So far, Attorney, how many workers have you been repatriated since the time of the effect of this COVID pandemic to your country?
In Taiwan, very limited. Very, very limited. Yeah, we have not repatriated 100 workers. Not even 100. Yes. Not even 100. Because, before, our number of OFWs and the entire Taiwan is 154,000. Okay, 154,000. Now, we only have 151. Okay, around 151,000. The reason why there is a decrease is because those who have finished their 4 contracts, because for factory workers, their maximum years of stay in Taiwan is 12. For household workers, they have a maximum of 14. Now, those who have reached this maximum period, they have to go home. They cannot be rehired anymore. They cannot, renegotiate their contract.
Okay, that's quite interesting, Attorney. Thank you very much for your contribution. Maybe this is a good time for you to tell to the public and to our fellow kababayans in Taiwan on how to access POLO easily, if in case they will be requiring your service.
It is very sad that some OFWs, when they encounter some problem, they rely on some friends, they rely on Facebook or text. Some certain people, portraying themselves to be an advocate, ganito. It is very easy to access POLO. All POLO all over the world. We have around 40 POLOs all over the world. We are all mandated to maintain social media, a Facebook account. Yes, we have emails, we have hotlines. All POLOs must have like that. Pag walang POLO na ganon, ay pwede nyo isumbong. Pwede po nyo isumbong sa Secretary of Labor or direct to the President through 888. Opo.
Okay.
So, ganon po. Kailangan po, whenever you encounter any problem, especially sa employment problem, you need to go to POLO and tell them your problem. They will request you to, make a request for assistance, and it is the responsibility of POLO to assist you.
Thank you very much, Attorney, for clarifying everything to the general public. For sure, by now, they have understood on how they were able to access your agency. And we would like to thank you, and we are so pleased that you have been with us for this afternoon, and we're very honored. Thank you very much, Attorney Fidel Macauyag, our labor.
Salamat din po. Salamat din po.
Thank you.
At,
Thank you so much.
maayong hapon, Agnes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Fidel Macauyag and Ms Owen Sanchez, for giving us an insight of what the Philippine Overseas Labour Office does for the overseas Filipino workers. We will be right back.
Today, I woke up at the edge of the world, where time can't reach. Tiny houses stand untouched by the present. Rolling hills drop off to who knows. Customs are a little different here. Even the fashion is extraordinary. Every corner stands another wonder. Our own little world away from it all.
Us live here in the Filipinos World. Greetings to all migrant workers in the United Kingdom and to other countries in Europe. And I hope you are tuning in and watching us here in the Filipinos World. For the Filipino labor migrants who remain abroad, many of them suffer from income loss due to no work, no pay. Looming prospects for repatriation compounded with the possibility contracting with the COVID-19 is also a source of depression for the OFWs. In the UK, nearly 40 Filipino NHS workers have died after contracting COVID-19. And according to HSJ research, Filipinos found out to be the single largest nationality to die from COVID-19. And in the UK, Filipino nurses comprise 3.8% of the nursing workforce, but 22% represented of the NHS nurse deaths. In the case of Conde Suelto, a nurse at Hammersmith Hospital in southwest London, made thousands grieve for his loss as he isolated himself after being contracted from a COVID patient. This and among other stories in the UK and other parts of the world where Filipinos live and work are of cases when they needed shelter or support. Join me here live from London, United Kingdom, Kanlungan Consortium in the UK, represented by Ms. Andrea Martinez and Mr. Rogelio Braga, as they discuss how Kanlungan become the shelter of the Filipinos and Asians in the UK. Magandang umaga, Andrea. Magandang umaga, Rogelio.
Good morning, Agnes.
Well, good
Good
morning.
morning to the
maayong buntag.
listeners.
Maayong buntag. Can we share the screen? Okay, there it goes. On my in the middle is Miss Andrea Martinez. She's the program manager for mental health and sickness. And on the extreme right is Mr. Rogelio Braga. He is the program manager for community organizing. Am I right? Both are in Kanlungan. So tell me something about Kanlungan.
Hello, good morning, Agnes. Good morning to the
morning.
listeners and viewers of the Filipinos World. We're glad to be here with you. We're from Kanlungan Filipino Consortium. It's a registered charity in the UK, and it's actually one of the only of its kind to actually assist Filipino migrants here in the UK. We've been in existence for 26 years now, and actually we are composed of different Filipino community organizations, from elderly to migrants to women to even students here. So the main goal of the charity is actually to assist and help our Filipino migrants here, especially in their welfare issues, which was actually the topic of the earlier segment. We also provide different services and basically campaign and advocate for the welfare and interest of our Filipino migrants here.
All right. Thank you for that, Andrea. You talk about assistance for the migrant workers. So you have already laid down the mental welfare or well-being of the Filipino migrants. How far are you still extending those kind of services to our Filipino brothers and sisters in the UK?
Yeah, ever since the pandemic in 2020, actually the demand for services of Kanlungan had not just doubled, it's had gone up 100%. So we actually wanted to become more relevant and more helpful to our Filipino migrants here. So we've been providing different services, because one thing we have to remember, as you've mentioned, so many of our Filipino migrants here are actually the frontline workers. So they are not just nurses here. We also have like Filipino domestic workers. We also have carers, nannies, and even those who work in the hospitality industry. So they are at the front lines of the pandemic when it hit us in 2020. And there had been a lot of cases that was brought to our attention, especially cases of our undocumented migrants, cases of Filipinas who were victims of domestic abuse, and cases of those who have lost their jobs. So one of the things that we did was actually to provide what we call mental health and welfare services, because a lot of them had not just experienced depression, anxiety, and isolation. Many of them are also in bereavement. Many of them have been traumatized. So part of that is to provide them with a one-on-one individual counseling service. We also have these group counseling services for like the momshies and even the elderly, and even now the healthcare workers, and some parts of the UK, such as East London, where majority of our Filipinos are located. So, and then we also give this what we call welfare advice, because many of them, as I've mentioned, are undocumented, and therefore they have no recourse to public funds. So they don't know where to go. They don't know how to access even the health services. So that's one of the things that we also do. And as mentioned, we have the cases of undocumented migrants who are, as we've said, are no pay, no work. So we are trying to help them as well access immigration advice. Probably OG can talk more about that.
Yeah.
So these are just some of the services.
Okay.
And on top of that, while providing these services to Filipino migrants living here in the UK, Kanlungan Filipino Consortium is also actively involved in campaigning for migrants' rights and protections across the UK. And we are also working in various local councils, even with the Mayor of London, and also with the government, the central government. Especially during the pandemic, we organized and we campaigned. And one of our major campaigns currently, later probably we'll share details about this, is we're campaigning, Kanlungan is part of a nationwide campaign for the regularization of all undocumented migrants in the UK and those in the legal process, especially during the pandemic and the lockdown. And also another campaign is the expansion of access to public health services, such as the vaccine. So basically, aside from providing these services, we are organizing the Filipino community here and also fighting for their rights to access basic services and protection. Because, for us in Kanlungan, migration is a basic human right, and it is our duty also to provide support and a safe space for our Filipino kababayans living here in the UK.
Okay, so you are so well-rounded into many aspects of helping or assisting the Filipinos there in UK. I would like to know, does Kanlungan have a physical shelter itself that caters the Filipinos? Like if we have POLO, for example, in different parts of the world, does Kanlungan have this physical structure to cater for the needs of the Filipinos?
Actually, that's one of the limitations that Kanlungan is facing, because we are basically limited to some of the grants, the funding grants that we receive. So what we do is that we tap the help of the community, because when you are in a foreign country, it's still your Filipino community whom you can rely and depend on. So like, for example, when we have like cases of domestic abuse, we even have a case, for example, of an undocumented migrant who needs dialysis and he cannot work, he doesn't have a place to go. So what we do is we ask the community if anyone can actually accommodate them temporarily. So we link them with our community, because right now we don't have yet that service. We're hoping to provide that physical shelter for them. That's why we're actually working with different funding agencies for us to have that kind of project. That's one of our dream actually to do that.
Right, Andrea. Talk about the Filipino nurses who died in because they were contracted, obviously, of the COVID-19. Had Kanlungan had Kanlungan initiated this kind of movement, repatriated some of the dead bodies back to our country? Did you have
well, yes. For one of the things that we did actually was to put up this what we call Shrine of Love. What is this Shrine of Love? This is a memorial to our frontliners who died because of COVID. So because we wanted to track down, to document who are our Filipino migrants, to give them a name, a face, and of course in memorial to their service. So not only that, we also were, as mentioned by OEG, we were campaigning for them to know what their rights are. In terms of repatriation, actually we received some cases or requests coming from families in the Philippines who wanted to who needed assistance or help to repatriate the bodies. So we coordinate with that with the embassy. We also ask for assistance from our Filipino community if they can pitch in and help in terms of like pulling in the funds to repatriate the body. But of course, it's kind of sad because it's more than just repatriation. The families that are left behind, as of course, who are dependent on our OFWs for especially for financial assistance. So we also wanted to help them with that. So we're working with different organizations as well to raise funds for this for the victims of the pandemic. So that's just one of the things. And then we also provide the counseling service, like bereavement service for the families that are left behind.
Yeah, and we're working with nursing organization and community groups in interest. Just to give you an idea, because Kanlungan also is a consortium, so we are composed of several Filipino organizations and interest groups. So we're trying to reach out also with the nursing community, Filipino nurses community here in the UK, so that we can provide whatever support that we can provide with them. And of course, we work with them on how to welcome, for example, nurses coming here, and to expand access, also knowledge regarding rights of migrant workers, specifically Filipino migrant workers and their situation in the UK inside, British hospitals, the NHS, during the pandemic.
Right. Rogelio, I want to address this question. A lot of, there's 23% of international migrants supposed to be undocumented, and I don't know what's the rough estimate there in UK. How are you assisting this undocumented Filipinos in the UK with regards to social security? At the moment, you have this vaccination now in UK. So what's the kind of assistance that you are extending to them?
Yes, I think regarding your first question, because currently here in the UK, they don't have the exact number of how many undocumented migrants, not just Filipino, living in the UK. So they have an estimate of 800,000 to 1.2 million people living undocumented in the UK. And these are not just Filipinos. I think regarding your question on what kind of a support or the challenges that they encounter, for us to be able to discuss this, we have to understand two things. One is the hostile environment policy. And then the second is the different channels and how Filipinos actually came to entered the UK territory. So the first one is the hostile environment policy. So this is a policy of the UK government to make it the environment hostile to migrants. And this affects all migrants, whether they are undocumented or documented. Now, Kanlungan Filipino Consortium addresses the needs of our Filipino migrant communities here in the UK within the the environment of a hostile environment. So, like for example, we provide services for undocumented migrants, like upskilling them or organizing them and upskilling them to know their rights. And aside from the services Andrea provided to us, so we organize and upskill our migrants, undocumented migrants, and then we involve them in our campaign, especially now because for Kanlungan, we see that one way for us to be able to extend the help related to access to public health services like vaccine, and those who were displaced from work, because an undocumented migrant cannot, during the lockdown, they still work. They need to work because they're not part of the system. So we involve them with a campaign that the best way actually for us to address the problems of undocumented migrants here, specifically the Filipino community, is regularization. That the British government should provide them a regularization, a status here, so that they can work. They can access services from the government, and they can access the vaccines, because right now the government is really ambivalent when it comes to providing access to vaccines to undocumented migrants. So the second is how Filipinos come here. So we provide different services, like regular channels like migrant workers, those Filipino workers who came from the Middle East, brought here by their employers, and then we're also, unfortunately, we have Filipinos here also victims of modern-day slavery. So Kanlungan services, actually, we were trying to understand the hostile environment policy of the UK, and we create interventions in how to serve the Filipino communities, not just the undocumented, but all the Filipinos here living with different status.
Okay. My two last questions for Andrea and Rogelio. What are the coordination you've done already with the government there in UK, maybe primarily in London for that, and to among other organizations? And how do you? What actions have you initiated to mitigate this kind of problem? curriculum.
Yeah.
Andrea,
Yes.
Yeah.
Kanlungan is okay. So let me. So
Okay.
Kanlungan is an active member of the Status Now coalition. It's a coalition of 100 organizations across UK,
Yes.
and calling for the regularization of all undocumented migrants. So Kanlungan is working with the local councils across the UK, in England, I'm sorry, and then with the Mayor of London also. And Kanlungan is very active with the Parliament. So we have early day motions that we are promoting, and then part of the campaign talking to different members of the Parliament. So we actually work with different government bodies locally. And then I think Andrea can share on what are the other,
Yeah, so as mentioned, because Kanlungan is a consortium of different Filipino organizations as well, and we are deeply rooted in the Filipino community here. So we coordinate these activities with our member organizations, like the domestic workers group, the women's group, even the theater group. In terms of, we do also coordinate from time to time with the embassy, especially on cases of repatriation, as mentioned, and also in terms of cases of like if they still if they can provide sort of assistance in terms of shelter, but that's kind of limited as well. So this is actually an effort, a collaborative effort, not just of Kanlungan and its member organizations, but also all those networks that help the migrant communities here. So yeah, so that's how we try to find our niche in the community.
All right. Thank you so much. So many things to discuss about Kanlungan. I think we would like to put you on board next time round and discuss of the other services you are extending already with the Filipinos there in the UK. Your parting words to our televiewers and listeners here in the Filipinos World. Let's start from Andrea.
Okay, well, we have to understand that while we call them the modern day heroes, they are also the modern day slaves. So they come here in search for a greener pasture, so to speak, to provide for the family. And they become not just victims of human trafficking, not just victims of illegal recruiters, as mentioned, but they also are victims of the hostile environment that the foreign or the host country subject them into. So it's not. I just hope that we don't paint a very rosy picture of what migration is, because it's definitely an uprooting of an individual from not just from his family but also from his community. And this is of course driven by a lot of factors, especially the labor export policy of the government. But we do hope that for our Filipino kababayans here in the UK, so Kanlungan is here to help as much as we can, as much as because our resources are also limited. But you know, even if they give us a message, like in Facebook, even at night, we try to be as responsive as possible, because we know how difficult it is to be far away from your family with no one to help you, and sometimes you would even want to shield your family from all the problems that you encounter in your foreign country. So we want them to have a home, to have a community here where they can be helped. Kaya natutuwa ako with your theme now. How are they helped? Because they are used to helping their family, but how do we help them? How do we assist them? They are actually very indispensable workforce in a foreign country which is also very important in the Philippine economy. So while we give them the honor as modern day heroes, we should also not forget that they themselves are victims and even survivors of modern day slavery.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And Rogelio, I'll give you 1 minute, please, to have your part.
Okay. So one is like labor rights as human rights and migrants' rights as human rights. So the UK government and their hospitals need Filipino nurses, and we should put value to ourselves, having said that. And please, if you have questions, concerns, and problems, you can reach Kanlungan Filipino Consortium. You can reach us to all social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, IG, website, and email. So please don't hesitate to reach out to the Kanlungan Filipino Consortium. And please always take good care of ourselves. In the UK, especially we're living here as migrant Filipinos and migrant workers.
Okay.
So that's all.
Thank you so much. Live from London, United Kingdom, Miss Andrea Martinez and Mr. Rogelio Braga. Thank you so much. We will
Salamat kaayo.
Salamat kaayo.
Salamat, maraming
Salamat.
salamat.
We will be right back.
Thank you, Kanlungan, for all the support that you are giving me. Otherwise, I should be very, very lonely and not eating. I'm eating good food now. Thank you, Kanlungan. Please take care of yourselves. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cause it's you that fills the emptiness in me, changes everything I see when I know I've got you with me.
Welcome back, and you're still watching us live here in the Filipinos World. I'd like to greet some friends watching from Facebook. Miss Maluca Inya, Miss Cecilia Ichavia, Mr. Mon Garrido, Grass Green Amihan, Ram Boys, who else? Juanito Tupas, Eunice Noview. Thank you so much for watching with us here. And together with me still is Ms Owen Sanchez, live from Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Ms Owen, are you there?
Yes, pretty much here. And
Thank you. I enjoyed watching you having the interview with Atty Fidel Macauyag. Well done to you, and thank you so much.
thank you as well, Agnes, for inviting me to co-host you in this event.
Right. Okay. Before anything else, you'd like to thank someone, or
I would like to thank the sponsor of the venue here in Dubai, which is the Dusit Thani Dubai. Currently, I'm here in the hotel, and my makeup applicator, Mr. 30 Vera, who did a very nice work for me today. And for the patience of all the staff and the support of the hotel, namely Darlene and John, to assist me and to welcome me in this hotel. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Would you do the favor in rounding the for comments?
No problem. Okay, so for suggestions, comments, feedbacks, please get in touch via email address. The email address of the Filipinos World is the Filipinos World in one word @gmail.com. You may also follow us in Instagram and Facebook and YouTube channel. It's the same name, which is the Filipinos World. If you have to become one of our sponsors, if you want to become one of our sponsors, please send us your intent via email, thefilipinosworld@gmail.com as well. And if you want your story to be featured in the Filipinos World and you believe you are one Filipino who inspire other Filipinos, please let us know and write us an email via the Filipinos World at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ms. Owen. We are running over time now. We wish to thank all our guests for today who graced with us for our episode, the OFWs and migrant workers as economic heroes and how are they helped, with Atty Fidel Macauyag, and from Kanlungan Consortium in the UK, Ms. Andrea Martinez and Mr. Rogelio Braga. Thank you so much. And for next week, we will also be graced by two prominent OFWs who had advocated in helping the OFWs based in the UK and based in Saudi Arabia with their stories, the tales of two Filipinos abroad. All right. So I should be reading this.
Para mas matulungan at maprotektahan ng ating mga OFWs or Overseas Filipinos, the Filipinos World considered the campaign for the urgent approval of the creation of the Department of Overseas Filipinos.
Maaring kailangang pagtuunan ng pansin ng mga sektura ang overseas Filipinos ay hindi lang matawag at mabansagang economic heroes or bagong bayani, kundi mapahalagahan ng maraming buhay ang nabuwis at naging kontributor sa ekonomiya ng bansa. Ngunit hindi ito nabigyan ng karampatang tulong na kinakailangan.
The department is the rightful institution that unifies the protection and welfare of the overseas Filipinos where issues and concerns are tackled in the greater scheme of things.
Okay, we wish the Filipinos World would like to thank the technical team, Engineer Jong Sandigo, together with Engineer was Ernie Banson, our social media team, the Mount Mom, Mr. Reggie Dandan, and Miss Myrene Garcia. Thank you so much. And also the station manager of RPN, Miss Jean Hereos, and of course to the followers and supporters of the Filipinos World.
We bring Filipinos closer to the world. We bring world closer to the Filipinos, and Filipinos closer to each other.
This has been your TFW Agnes together with Ms Owen Sanchez live from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, wishing you a very happy weekend. Stay safe everyone, and goodbye. We would like to thank Mr. Paul Markovicius for arranging the Kanlungan's guesting for today's afternoon, and of course Atty Fidel Macauyag for being with us. Thank you so much. Ms Owen, thank you, and say hi to Danny, and thank you so much, and hope to have you next time soon.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you.